All right. Well, thank you guys for making the trip over here to talk about your children's books. Can we just get a brief introduction? Can I get your name, your job title, which book you authored, and then how you take your coffee? We'll start with Tim.
My name's Tim Olson. I'm a water resources engineer in the Maplewood office. I was the author of Walter the Raindrop, and if I'm being honest, I like my coffee with some chocolate in it.
Right, I'm Maddie Dahlheimer. I am a landscape architect in the Burnsville office. I wrote the Parker the Planner book, and I take my coffee black.
I'm Tyler Danielson. I'm a GIS specialist in the Des Moines office. I wrote Lindsay the GIS specialist, and I like my coffee black.
And on your pants.
And on my pants.
Yeah.
That did happen.
All right, well, I'm Shannon Gapp. I'm a landscape designer in the Des Moines office. I wrote Green Trees and Sam, and I take my coffee with cream and sugar, and lately in large quantities since I have a little 1-year-old at home.
In about 2 or 3 sentences, can you describe your books? Give a quick summary of what your book is about.
I'll start. Walter the Raindrop is about a raindrop and his journey through the water cycle. And how that relates to stormwater management and some of the other things that we do in the Water Resources Group.
Parker the Planner is a book about planning, but the story is the character Parker isn't happy with the community that he's in because there's no playgrounds, there's no sidewalks, he has to get driven around by his parents. So he wakes up one day and comes up with a plan to make his own town. So he goes around and asks community members what they would like to see in a town, and then he makes a plan to make it happen.
Lindsay, the GIS specialist, is it's about kind of just a day in the life of a GIS specialist, all the different technologies that you interact with in GIS. And the book is actually named after my sister. She's also in GIS.
All right, well, Green Trees and Sam is kind of a fun little whimsical rhyming book about a little girl named Sam. Actually, her name is Samantha, but she goes by Sam. And she kind of goes through all the things that she loves to do, and by the end of the book, she finds out all the things that she loves doing is perfectly lined up to be a landscape architect when she grows up.
Awesome. All right, so safe to say none of you thought you were going to be writing a children's book when you got hired at Bolton & Mank. What made you say yes to this? And Tim, we'll start with you again because I know you were the one who started this whole thing.
So the whole thing started with the Smithsonian, actually. They approached us looking for some educational material for a mobile educational unit that they were doing. And as we got into it and started answering some of the questions, I was like, man, this really reads like a children's book. And so we pitched the idea back to some people in HR and marketing, and everything took off from there.
So what do you hope children and fellow engineers get out of these books?
I hope for kids that maybe are just sitting at their desk in elementary school, drawing a little map, that now that kid can maybe know what type of job they're, interested in when they grow up. GIS is such a diverse and technical at times, but also can be so creative and different from day to day. Hopefully they just get a little bit of that from the book, and can inspire them to do something.
The words that are written in the book are a reflection of you.
Right.
We're telling our own story. We're telling, the reasons why we're so passionate about the things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know one of the biggest questions that kids get asked is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's only a tiny little smidgen of professions that get kind of advocated towards these kids. And so showing them that these things are out there. And I also think everything that we do is all about improving the communities that we live in and helping build a better future. And so letting these kids figure out, different ways in which they can do that, I think is great.
And I think with the crossover, the possibilities of, hey, none of these are standalone books, all of these kind of cross one another. And so there's that possibility that we can all work together to achieve that common goal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We get to help communities all day long. It's pretty amazing that we have the trust of these communities to come in and solve their problems. but at the end of the day, these books are so much further reaching, than I think we ever expected, and so we're able to really get our message out there as who we are as people, in more ways than we could have ever imagined. So, yeah.
Thanks for watching.